Have you ever woken up the next day and looked at that purchase you made yesterday thinking, why did I do that? Ever felt that tightness in your chest when you see your credit card statement and can't even really remember half the stuff you bought? If you're here right now, you probably know this cycle all too well. Buy, feel that momentary pleasure, and right after comes the guilt, the regret, the promise that next time it'll be different. But when next time comes, the story repeats itself. And I need to tell you, this isn't a lack of willpower. This has everything to do with how your emotions control your relationship with money. Let's talk about how this actually happens in real life. You had a rough day at work. That client treated you badly, your boss was unfair, or maybe you're just tired of everything. You grab your phone, open that shopping app, and start scrolling. You're not looking for anything specific, but suddenly you see that product that seems like exactly what you need. In that moment, the purchase makes all the sense in the world. You deserve it after all. You work hard. Why can't you give yourself this gift? And then comes that dopamine rush when you click buy. For a few minutes, even a few hours, you feel better. The bad day seems less bad. You feel in control of something, even if it's just choosing which color you want or which model you prefer. But when the product arrives or when you look at your credit card bill, reality hits. What seemed so essential in the moment now seems completely unnecessary. And worse, you don't even really remember why you wanted it so badly. The guilt hits hard. You question how you can be so irresponsible, how you can keep making the same mistake, why you just can't stop. You promise yourself it'll be different next time. You even delete the app from your phone, unsubscribe from promotional newsletters, distance yourself from everything that might tempt you. But when the next difficult emotion shows up, when you're anxious, sad, bored, or even really happy, the cycle starts again, and you feel trapped in a cycle you can't escape from. What's happening to you is called emotional spending, and it's directly linked to emotional regulation through consumption. You know what that means? It means you're not buying things because you need them, you're buying to fill an emotional void, to escape an uncomfortable feeling, or to try to feel better about yourself. Money becomes a tool for self-comfort, and shopping becomes a form of emotional self-medication. This pattern usually starts long before you had your own money. Maybe you grew up in a house where emotions weren't validated, where you learned it wasn't safe to express what you felt. Or maybe you noticed that getting presents was how people around you showed love. Maybe you learned that consuming is the socially acceptable way to deal with stress. And now, even as an adult, you keep using the same mechanism without even realizing that's what you're doing. Let me tell you about Mark. He's a designer, creative, sensitive, makes decent money. But Mark has a secret that almost nobody knows. He's got 3 credit cards maxed out, all hidden from his girlfriend. Every time he feels anxious or pressured about a project, he buys photography equipment, lenses, cameras, accessories. He doesn't even use everything he buys. He's got unopened boxes stacked in his closet. Mark knows this doesn't make sense. He's smart. He understands finances. He knows he's sabotaging himself. But when the anxiety kicks in, when he feels insecure about his work or about himself, that purchase promises a relief he can't find anywhere else. For a few hours, he forgets the pressure. He feels like a real professional, imagines himself using that equipment on amazing projects. But when the euphoria fades, reality comes back, and with it, the devastating guilt. What's really interesting is that Mark doesn't have a money problem, he has an emotional problem that manifests through money. He uses shopping as anesthesia for feelings he doesn't know how to process any other way. And the more he buys, the more guilty he feels. The more guilty he feels, the more anxious he gets. The more anxious he gets, the more he buys to relieve the anxiety. It's a vicious cycle that feeds itself, and it only gets worse over time. And you know what the cruelest part of all this is? While you're stuck in this cycle, you're losing not just money, but also self-esteem. Every time you give in to the impulse and regret it later, you reinforce the belief that you have no control, that you're weak, that you can't change. And this affects way more than your financial life. It affects how you see yourself, how you relate to your emotions, how you face life's challenges. But there is a way out, and it's not simply to stop spending, it's understanding that you need to find other ways to deal with your emotions that don't go through consumption. The first thing you need to do is start recognizing the pattern. Next time you feel the urge to buy something, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Am I sad, anxious, bored, angry, lonely? When you can name the emotion, you take away its power over you, because then you can choose a different response. If you're anxious, maybe what you need is to take a walk, talk to someone, exercise. If you're sad, maybe you need to cry, write about what you feel, watch that movie that comforts you. If you're bored, maybe you need a hobby that really challenges you, not another purchase that'll entertain you for 5 minutes. Learn to create a pause between impulse and action. When you feel the urge to buy something you hadn't planned, wait 24 hours, add it to your cart, but don't complete the purchase. The next day, revisit that decision. You'll notice that most of the time, the urgency has passed. What seemed essential yesterday doesn't seem so important today. And here's the most important part. Be gentle with yourself in this process. You're not going to change overnight. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have days when you give in to the impulse, and that's okay. What matters isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you manage to pause, every time you choose a different response, you're reprogramming your brain. You're creating new neural pathways, new ways of dealing with emotions that don't depend on your credit card. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you also buy emotionally and regret it later? Ever caught yourself making purchases you can't really explain why you made them? If what I'm describing has happened to you, drop in "I feel this way" in the comments. You'll realize you're not alone. And if you want to understand more about how your emotions control your money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. In the next video, we're going to talk about why you sabotage your own attempts to save and how to break out of this self-destructive pattern. See you then.